Welcome back to True Unseen Crime, the series where the choices we make can make or break our lives, kind of like deciding whether to order that extra side of guacamole. Today, we'll continue unraveling the twisted tale of Roger Sinclair, whose journey through darkness turns weirder with each passing second. And trust me when I say, this is a ride you won't want to miss. When we last left Roger, he was at a crossroads, one final, heart-stopping decision that would alter the trajectory of his life. The broker had challenged him to confront the shadows of his choices and face the demons that haunted him, and possibly take a few down with him. The stakes were sky-high, and Roger could feel the weight of dread mingling with the stale remnants of his last meal, pizza, of course, because what is a crisis without a little comfort food on the side? In his cramped apartment, Roger scoured his surroundings for any clues to the broker's true identity. The walls, once painted with dreams and aspirations, were now plastered with notes, maps, and sketches. It looked more like a serial killer's lair than the sanctuary he once held dear. "Okay, Roger," he muttered to himself, pacing back and forth. "You've got to think like the broker. What does he want?" Just then, his phone buzzed ominously. Another message from the broker. "You have 2 hours. Make your choice, or they will pay the price." It felt like a countdown to a massacre, or maybe just a really bad date. Meanwhile, Detective Linda Mercer and Officer Tom Riggins were buried in a paper mountain of evidence and theories that felt about as useful as a parachute on a submarine. "What if we just put up a missing person poster?" Riggins suggested, half joking. Find out if anyone's seen this guy in a hoodie? Maybe he's just really bad at hide and seek. "Yes, because that's exactly how we solve crimes," Linda replied dryly, flipping through witness statements that all seemed to blend into a flavorless porridge of confusion. Suddenly, the precinct door swung open, and in rushed eyewitnesses. A group of confused onlookers had gathered outside Roger's apartment, claiming they saw the broker appear just as Roger went in. They shoved their way into the station, their tales weaving a tapestry of chaos. "I swear," a woman exclaimed, her hair wild like she just ran from a bad horror flick. "He was just standing there in the alley, looking all menacing. I thought I was having a panic attack." "It was creepy," chimed a teenager with multiple Snapchat notifications buzzing on his phone. "He smiled at me, and I was like, dude, not cool. I don't know what's scarier, the crazed man in the alley, or these kids nowadays." Linda quipped, trying to suppress a laugh while taking notes. With time slipping away, Roger faced the ultimate test. He had to meet the broker at midnight, a rendezvous so ominous it felt like something straight out of a horror novel. He gathered whatever courage he had left and prepared to journey into the abyss. His heart raced as he slipped outside, the cold night air tightening around him like a vice. As he moved deeper into the shadows, the city lit up with a cacophony of unsettling sounds, sirens wailing in the distance, the murmur of drunken revelers, and the laughter of patrons, obliviously unaware of the darkness enveloping Roger. The clock struck midnight, piercing the silence like a gunshot. Roger stood in the alleyway, adrenaline pumping through his veins, bracing himself for a confrontation. "That's not creepy at all," he muttered, scanning his surroundings. "What kind of horror film did I just walk into?" Then, emerging from the darkness, like a specter materializing from a nightmare, the broker stepped into view, a shadowy figure with an unsettling smile that seemed permanently etched on his face. "Welcome, Roger," he said, his voice smooth yet dripping with malice. "Are you ready for the final challenge? Is this where I get to name my price?" Roger shot back, voice trembling but defiant. The broker chuckled. "You're sharper than I thought. But remember, every choice has a consequence." Back at the precinct, the growing concern over Roger's fate prompted Linda and Riggins to escalate their investigation. They sent patrols to scour the area around Roger's last known location. Linda couldn't shake off the feeling of dread as they pushed through the dark streets. "I have a bad feeling about this," she said, staring at the pulsating darkness. "Roger's been playing the broker's game, and we've been sitting on the sidelines like a bunch of clueless benchwarmers. Maybe we can get him to call it quits," Riggins joked, though the humor fell flat in the face of looming uncertainty. Meanwhile, Roger stood shaking in front of the broker, engulfed in an atmosphere thick with suspense. "What's it going to be?" the broker asked, an eyebrow arching as if he were taking simple bets at a poker table. Roger weighed his options. What collateral was he willing to gamble? But as choices flashed before him in vivid scenarios, his mind drifted to the bystanders he heard earlier, the witnesses whose lives came into focus like ghosts of what could be lost. "You want a choice? Here's my choice," Roger shouted, finding newfound resilience. "I'm not playing your twisted games anymore. I refuse." In that moment, everything changed. The broker's expression shifted from amusement to something darker, a storm cloud overtaking the light. "You think you can just walk away?" The tension electrified the air, and just as chaos seemed inevitable, police sirens erupted in the distance. The broker cursed under his breath, vanishing into the shadows as a wave of blue and red lights splashed across the alley. Detective Mercer and Officer Riggins rushed to Roger's side, breathlessly scanning their surroundings, preparing for anything. "Did you see him? The broker?" Linda demanded, adrenaline making her words come out in a rush. I think he's gone," Roger stammered, overwhelmed by what he had just faced. "But he's real, and it's not over." As Roger was ushered to safety, both the dread and uncertainty clung like a fog in the air. An encounter with the broker had changed him, reshaped him, filled him with equal parts terror and resolve. Linda and Riggins exchanged worried glances. This was just the beginning of a labyrinthine puzzle that would challenge not only their skills, but also the fabric of their moral compass. So, what happens next? Can the police unravel this complex web of manipulation? Will Roger survive this mind game with his psyche intact, or will he fall deeper into the chaos? Join us next time as we continue to explore the Faceless Gambit, uncovering the deeper shadows lurking behind every choice and every consequence. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for updates on this thrilling saga.